Greetings, Elder Blacklight, the motivator. Trying to motivate you into doing the right thing, counseling you on how to maneuver in this system that oppresses the black and brown people. And listen to this real good. Listen to what I got to say real good. Growing up in Detroit in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, brothers know how to get things done. Using the example of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and brothers that worked out at the auto plants that were in unions. Because if you know your history about the auto plants, you know that the only one that plant that tried to give a brother a break was Ford's. But even they were somewhat racist. But we had to form a union. And when they formed a union, they excluded blacks. And the blacks had to fight for that. And then they had to fight for the right to be in the union and also to make conditions better in the auto factories. And if you study that history, there was one organization called Drum out of Dodge, Maine, where I used to work at. And they made a hell of an impact. And that's why we had Coleman Young, and Coleman Young, the only black mayor, first black mayor in Detroit, really. And that's why we ran the Caucasians out, you know. And it was cool, but we still was divided among each other. See, one thing a union do is teach you how to be united and how to negotiate with the power of shutting the plant down. Because without your workmanship, the plant can't operate when you come out together in unity. See, a strike ain't a boycott. A strike ain't a march. You're working in unity and shutting the whole plant down. Now, one thing about Biden, he's trying to pacify the blacks with certain proposals he's coming up with. But see, you got to go to the foundation of discrimination, the foundation of slavery. Still owe us reparations, man. And you ain't saying nothing about that. You don't want to give us our stimulus money. Halfway give us our stimulus money. Even though you said you said anything really to get elected. Now, what must be done is that instead of marching, because when you march, you're going to start an altercation with the police. That ain't cool. But when you strike, you know, you're shutting the whole plant down. Well, how about shutting the country down? Don't participate unless they negotiate. And you give them, you know, if they go to the table, you know, and y'all make on a settlement, we'll give them a time limit. And if, you know, if they don't come up to that time limit, strike. Then Do it again. You might get a little bit more. Do it again. 3 strikes you out. If they don't come up with anything, strike for the final time and don't come back. But you got to plan for stuff like that. And that's one thing brothers and sisters don't want to do. You know, plan for stuff like that. Stop paying taxes. You know, stop participating in their job, in the employment accusation. They say, well, no, well, how are we going to pay our bills? All these churches, all these black organizations, all that money running through them, you know, if they can't come up with something to help the black community, got 30 different black organizations. So maybe more than that. And ain't none of them money going through them, but there ain't none of the money feeding back to the black community. Check this out though.
Tuesday to advance what the White House calls his racial equity agenda.
Open the promise America to every American. And that means we need to make the issue of racial equity not just an issue for any one department of government. It has to be the business of the whole of government.
Biden opened his speech by invoking the legacy of George Floyd, the African-American man whose death under the knee of a white Minneapolis police officer prompted nationwide protests against racism. He announced 4 executive actions.
Today, I'm directing the Department of Housing and Urban Affairs and Urban Development to redress historical racism in federal housing policies. Today, I'm directing the federal agency to reinvigorate the consultation process with Indian tribes. Respect for tribal sovereignty will be a cornerstone of our engaging with Native American communities. Today, I'm directing federal agencies to combat resurgence of xenophobia, particularly against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders that we've seen skyrocket during this pandemic. I've also asked the Department of Health and Human Services to put out best practices for combating xenophobia in our national response to COVID. I'm rescinding the previous administration's harmful ban on diversity and sensitivity training and abolish the offensive counterfactual 1776 Commission. Unity and healing must begin with understanding and truth.
See, a lot of y'all new school ain't like the old school. Y'all kind of too soft, man. And a lot of the people gonna go for that. But you gotta address the school system, the history and the languages of the black man and woman, and the legacy of slavery and reparations. So we're gonna continue this. Make sure you tune in. I'm gonna address why y'all gotta toughen up, man. Quit being so soft and going for the pacifying kind. Black light.